Hello! Welcome back to Words in Pixels! I'm still working on the introduction. So I just got back from vacation. I had a lovely few days to hang out by the beach, get some reading done, and do some shopping. I like shopping. But while I was there, I also had a chance to think about writing and what I wanted the rest of the year to look like in terms of writing and my writing projects. You know, I'm starting this channel, but I also am still actively working on some projects right now. So I kind of made up a little game plan for what I want the next couple months to look like in terms of my writing schedule and what projects I'll be working on and when. And I thought that it might be fun to start a series where I just kind of regularly chronicle, you know, what I'm writing, how it's going, the ups and downs of it. I thought it might be a fun thing in the future when I do have like a finished draft that I'm sending around, like querying, to be able to look back and see, you know, what kind of struggles and challenges I faced and, you know, what kind of small victories I was able to celebrate. So I don't know what I'm going to call the series yet. I was thinking something like writing words. It's pretty to the point. So right now I currently have two projects on the horizon for this year. One which I'm currently on a kind of solid first draft. I just finished a zero draft. I'm on the first draft. Another one which I'm going to be working on for Nano. So I'm going to talk about the one that I'm working on currently, and then I'll talk about the Nano one later. So the one that I'm working on currently is a project called Legendary. And that is definitely a working title. I don't think that's going to end up being the final title for the series. I'm going to read out the summary that I used for Camp NaNoWriMo, because for Camp NaNoWriMo you can put in a cover, which I did, but it's terrible. Don't look at it. I just wanted something to be there. And you could also put in a actual summary for the book. So here's the summary that I had written for Camp NaNoWriMo. Of course, I'm sure it will change when I actually go into the querying process and I'm, you know, shopping around my log line. Okay, short synopsis. When the Moon Prince falls under a deadly sleeping spell, it's up to his champion, the legendary hero Why did you? No. Darcy, stop. What are you doing? Now who's here? Everybody go away. So synopsis is, when the Moon Prince falls under a deadly sleeping spell, it's up to his champion, the legendary hero Junpei, to save him. But when it turns out the cure requires 3 magical ingredients, the stoic Junpei is forced to rely on help from Danius, a cheerful fairy who really likes to talk. Can the two cooperate long enough to save the prince? Or is somebody going to get squashed with a boot? So I thought it would be interesting to do a buddy adventure involving a hero and a small annoying companion character. It's a story entirely about friendship. There's not really any romance in it. I've kind of been shopping it around as Legend of Zelda meets Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's basically the idea there, is these two characters going on an adventure together are very different people. You know, Junpei, she's a very stern sort of person. Danius, he really isn't. He's very kind of cheerful and upbeat and talkative. And so them getting to know each other and work together, I thought was going to make for an interesting story. So the thing I also really wanted to do with this story was to make it entirely about friendship. There's very little romance, unlike the next story, which I'm going to be talking about. But I wanted this one to be just a friendship centered. You know, they're friends, and it's about the development of friendship. So I just finished up the zero draft for Camp NaNoWriMo, and I'm currently in a first draft. I kind of talked about my writing process a little bit in the AuthorTube introduction video, so I'm not going to go too much in depth here, but basically what I do is I write a very vague outline, then I write a zero draft, and that kind of helps me really, like, I guess, solidify some of those ideas. And then I write a more detailed outline, and then I write like a first draft, like a really solid first draft. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm basically going back through the story and making a draft that I can really work from and edit in the future. So my plan is to work on that until October. So I'm going to work on that for August and September, hopefully finish that draft, which I think I probably will. I'm about in chapter 2 now, going towards chapter 3, and it's not a super long story. So yeah, I think I'll have that done by October, and then I'll be going into my next project, which is Untitled. I don't have a name for it. I don't even have a working title for it. This story is very much a vague idea right now, but I want it to be the idea that I do for Camp NaNoWriMo. And I don't have a full formal plot summary written, but basically this is going to be about a girl who wishes for an ideal lover and gets way, way, way more than she bargained for. I kind of want it to be a humorous story with some elements of horror and some elements of romance too. Definitely a darkly funny type story. I also want it to be kind of a affectionate parody of YA romance. You know, it's kind of got a vibe more like Ouran High School Host Club, where, you know, it is kind of making fun of romance anime, but it's also kind of playing some of those tropes straight and definitely paying respect to them. And that's kind of the idea here. You know, it's very much an affectionate parody. I really want to kind of like dig into some of those insta-love YA tropes and just have fun with them. Like, I'm excited for this. I really do think it's going to be a fun project. I'm also planning to do this one for proper NaNoWriMo, which is why I don't have anything written for it yet. For October, I'm going to start Preptober, so that's why I'm going to stop Legendary. I'm going to do Preptober for this project and just kind of dive into it, you know, and really like start getting some inspiration, maybe go on a YA reading binge, really just kind of have some fun planning this. And then in November, I'm actually going to start the writing process. This is going to be a novella, and this one I'm actually not preparing for traditional publication. This one is going to be posted on Wattpad when it's finished. So obviously it's not going to be posted right away. I'm hoping to finish that zero draft in November and then spend the next few months, possibly longer, most likely longer, the next few months really like developing it into a full-fledged story, and then it's going to go for free on Wattpad. I will probably do, after the Wattpad release, I'll probably release it as an ebook, maybe with like an extra short story or something added in. I already have an idea for that because there's a character I really like that's in it, and I kind of think he deserves a short story. He's great. So, you know, we'll see. You know, I want people to be able to access the story for free, but if you want that extra story, then I would make like a cheap ebook. Nice ebook, you know, definitely want to go through the whole process of creating an ebook, and that might be a fun thing to document too, creating an ebook, getting a cover artist, doing all that kind of fun stuff, making sure it's formatted really well. That's a big thing for me. And then being able to actually release it and see what happens. So that'll be a fun project too. And after that, I'm not sure where I want to go. Chances are I'll probably go back to Legendary. You know, that'll, maybe after a couple months of not working on that, I think it'll be ready to be revisited with a fresh eye. So probably December, January, etc. is going to be focused on Legendary, and then I'm going to switch back and forth between those two projects for a while. So that's where I am right now. I don't intend to do this series super regularly, you know, only when there's been some sort of movement. Probably gonna do a video talking about what ended up happening with Legendary's first draft, and then switch over to Preptober. And, you know, I kind of said in the AuthorTube video I wanted to document my NaNoWriMo process, so we'll do some Preptober stuff, getting ready for that new story. Maybe some live streams would be kind of interesting. And then in NaNoWriMo, I'm just gonna hit that Untitled story really hard. And hopefully between now and then I'll have some sort of working title for that story too. I just need to do a little more brainstorming first. Thank you guys so much for watching. I think my next video is going to be a Let's Play, so keep an eye out for that in the near future. Thank you and have a good day. Bye!